Mm. Good morning, this is Vanderhorst here with some daily motivation for you. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here to the channel, leave a sub on the channel. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get into the episode. Thanks. What's up, everybody? I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about having some daily motivation and just doing the thing. So one of the concepts that I learned recently is from Terrence McKenna, and he said a wonderful quote. He says, take it easy, man, but take it. And I think that that is actually absolutely profound in its understanding, because what he's talking about is just doing the things. Okay, it's okay to have moments of doubt and fear and worry and all that kind of stuff, but the point of it is you have to know your shadow and keep your light. Know your light and keep your shadow. It is a true integration of the two. So what's amazing about that to me is the sheer fact that all of the thoughts that we're given are given to us on purpose. All the ideas, all the dreams, all the hopes, all the miseries and worries and everything are given to us on purpose. They're ours. And it's up to us, having critically thinking human being brains, okay, in the cerebral cortex that allows us to have deep thought. It's up to us to make the decisions with each thought that we have on what we do with it and how our thoughts flow, okay? That is true integration of your shadow. Look into Carl Jung about that. I feel like I've been talking about that a lot because there's been so much shadow work going on. It's wonderful. I am so happy to see so many people waking up. It really makes me happy. And pretty soon, we're going to see a lot of people flocking to spiritual practitioners who know a lot about this stuff, because people are going to need answers. We're truly migrating into a new time. So I'm glad that I've started doing these kind of episodes about knowing yourself, learning yourself, being honest with yourself the right way so you can learn how to love yourself the right way. People of my generation certainly were never taught that. We were just taught go, 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 you know, two modes, start and stop. We were never actually taught how to revel in a good moment. We were never taught how to coordinate our thoughts without worry. I talk about how I'm 31, I'll be 32 in May, and I know for a fact that my parents were victims of the 90s. And what I mean by victims of the 90s is parents who through the price of inflation and all that kind of stuff, the rising costs, mothers and fathers both had to go into the workforce to work, thus removing them from their children's lives as much, and causing a greater rift between the understanding of the parent to the child and vice versa. And that caused a lot of misunderstanding in a lot of my friends and their parents, and me and my parents, I know. And it wasn't until my damn 30s that my dad and I started talking like, you know, best friends to each other. It took a lot of fighting for that to happen too. Stoicism is surely not dead, but chivalry seems to be, and that kind of sucks. My mom and I had a wonderful relationship. We were honest to each other from the get-go, pretty much. My mom just did not give a damn, though. She was one of the strongest women I have ever had the pleasure of knowing, and I'm not just saying that because she was my mom. It's just that I have seen her in court fight for something that she believed in with all of her might and righteous fury, and it was beautiful. So you don't find many people who are like that these days. Many people who are willing to take the risks. I take for you these slings and arrows to show you the truth. It is what I am. It is my nature. And I respect people who are like that. Unconditionally respect them. One of my best friends is like that. It amazes me that he was able to get up every morning at fucking 3 in the morning to be at work for however long he did it. And that amazes me. That is true dedication to your craft. You have to take hold of the things of your life, because if you don't, you're going to create that spiral out of control and you'll never know where you end up. And that's the bad part, because you are no longer in control of your own life. Okay? Don't lose control of your mind. Don't lose control of your mind. That's why we teach meditation, transcendental meditation, because the whole act of transcendentalism is superseding the level that you're currently on in order to solve problems with a more efficient, streamlined basis. Okay, we teach this stuff because it's almost mandatory in order to awaken the facets of your consciousness that are responsible for this level of thinking. What people commonly call angels and demons and all that kind of stuff, I have come to learn are actually just mental aspects of places like consciousness pockets of modes of thinking that you can achieve through meditation, deep thinking, ask and thou shalt receive practices, all that kind of stuff. It actually talks about that in the Enochian books that I have with Dr. John Dee, the Elizabethan doctor who worked with Kelly, his medium, to channel all of that angelic knowledge, at least what they claim is angelic, and I still think it's truly profound. And still one of the most scientifically profound facts about the Enochian stuff to me is the linguistic part of it, about how actual linguistic scientists have studied it, and they say the basis of the language of the Enochian is so true to form, it really could be its own language. It follows all the rules that we know that languages follow, consonants, vowels, etc. Everything. It's amazing. It's amazing. So if you don't know about Enochian, go check it out. I have said before that your life and my life and everybody's life is a series of impossible tasks that have been catered to that only you have the answer to that problem. That's why you were created. You were created to solve your perpetual impossible tasks. And that should give you some good motivation, because that means that you can't fuck up. You can't mess up. And even when you do mess up, that's what you were supposed to do. Sometimes winning looks like losing. Sometimes you have to lose to win, okay? Here's a perfect example. Not necessarily losing to win, but sometimes the wholesome, sexy thing to do, according to James Leahy, is to put other people's needs before your own, okay? And here's a perfect example of that. I've been watching some Miles Davis concerts recently, and one of my favorite things that he does is in the middle of the concert, whoever is having their solo, he will literally walk as he's playing and pull them to center stage where they get their own spotlight. Does it very coyly. You never even notice it's happening unless you're paying attention to it, and you're just like, I see what's happening now. It's all part of the concert. It's all part of the show. And then you don't see Miles Davis until the next song starts. Dude's like one of the coolest people on the planet, knows how to make other people look good, and in turn has made himself look great. That is the mark of a truly great person, let alone a great leader. All right, a great leader is out front pulling with his help, and the boss is sitting there going, pull faster. And it's up to you to determine which one you want to be. That's up to you. If you're a man, do manly things. If you're a woman, do womanly things. Not because you have to, but because it's within your nature. And if you're a woman who wants to do manly things, well, do them. That's awesome. And if you're a man who wants to do womanly things, like sew and cook and stuff, do it. That's great. It is in your nature. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is do what is in your nature, as long as it does not harm other people. And that's the most important part, is that not only are you supposed to do the things that you're supposed to do, but the things you do are naturally supposed to help others around you. It is a zero-sum game, and this is actually an episode of Reality Decoded that I'm going to do later, talking about how a zero-sum game means that when all the participants have been given out their due rewards from the pile of rewards that's in the middle, there's nothing left, which means that no person is going to have more than the other person. Everybody is going to get their just desserts, their exact amount that they have worked for. And according to the Corpus Hermeticum, all of the seeds that you sow, you might not reap them all, but everything that you reap, you have sown. So for every seed you plant, for like, say you plant 10 seeds, you might only be able to harvest like 3 or 4 of them. But from every reward that you get in life, it always is going to come from a seed that you planted, period, no matter what. You're not going to be able to harvest from other people's plants. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's the zero-sum game idea. So if my advice to you had to come in one sentence, and that would be today, would be start sowing your spiritual seeds. Start planting those future ideas and getting them in line, and start fertilizing them every day with your mental thoughts. Hold on to it. Hold on to it. You are so strong in your mental capacity. You can do anything. I believe in you. I know you can do anything. I've seen it. I've seen myself come so far. It took me 39 episodes of my original podcast called Chill Vibes to get comfortable enough and fluid enough to be able to speak on camera. without having to write dialogue. And now I trust myself in order to be able to tap into my intuition, to be able to speak and elaborate on any subject that I need to. You know, it is a growth process. Nobody starts out this way, not even the great Martin Luther King. I guarantee you he probably had some kind of stutter or something. I'm not trying to put that out there, but I guarantee you there was something that he had to overcome in order to become who he was, the greatness. Okay, so find out that part of yourself that you're afraid to look at. Take your attention, put it on that thing like a camera lens. Okay, shine that light on there. Take those pictures of it. Do it as many times as you need to. I promise you, the more that you do that, the easier it will be to overcome and grow from these issues. And really, the more that you do this, the more that you're going to realize that they're not even that big of issues. It's just a matter of your perception on them was completely not what you thought it was. Period. And what's amazing about that is our brains are so smart, they have a terrible habit of fooling us into thinking that things are a million times harder than what they really are, or a person is going to get mad at us 100 times worse than what they really actually get mad at us. So your brain will create drama because its default state of being is pain. Like 98% of the people who are out there, their default state of being is pain. And you have to learn to alleviate that pain through something called quality of life. Okay? Quality of life is one of the most important things I have ever had to learn in my entire life. Better eating habits, because I developed a form of an eating disorder through workaholism. I'd be like, well, I can eat later. I've still got work to do. I'll eat later, and then 3 days would go by, and then I'd finally eat and wonder, damn, I'm getting skinny. Why? Well, because I'm an idiot. And I would make terrible decisions for my own body, and that was my own shadow that I'm having to get over now. Okay? And that, to me, is one of the hardest yet most fulfilling and rewarding things I've ever had to do in my life, was shining the light on the things that I am afraid of and ashamed of. Okay? Like keeping my mind busy so I didn't have to think about my mom's death for the last 2 years, instead of just sitting in it and just being like, damn, that sucks, and healing from that, and then moving on as a healthy human being. You know, it takes time. It takes time. Traumatic events leave scar tissue, but that scar tissue is so much stronger than the original bondage or the original tissue that was there, the original sinew. My mom taught me about that. Scar tissue heals, and it's really strong. That's why people's hearts become really strong after a while, because of all that scar tissue. Don't be afraid to open your heart, though. That's one of the most important things you can do as well. Don't be afraid to allow your heart to be open, because once you harden your heart, it's really hard to come back from that. Love is a place of light and attention, and only through love can you reach higher states of being. Gratitude, bliss, serendipity, synchronicity. Only through the openness of love. You have to be open to that supernatural, because love in and of itself is a supernatural thing. Okay? I actually think because it comes from inside of us, that is a form of supernatural. It is above natural. Sure, it's within nature because it's within you and you are within nature, but where does that love come from? Does it come from the me, or does it come from the eternal I, or the eternal us? Or is it a field that we are all intersecting with all the time, and then I choose to turn that light switch on in my head and feel that field of love? What is it? Could be a form of all three, there's no telling. But I'd like to think that it's a field that once you quiet your mind enough, you just sit with something long enough, you just meditate on it. Bling, there it is. You just feel it. Okay, it's a field that we can tap into, just like thinking is a field that you can tap into thought, okay? Deep, profound thought. That's why I love watching Ramdass interviews, because when he gets asked a really profound question, he just kind of sits with the question for a second. He sits back, he closes his eyes, and he just asks himself his question in his mind, and then he comes up with a really good intuitive answer, and he speaks from the heart, and I love that. I respect that. And I think that goes back to the being afraid to open yourself to love, because if you love yourself enough, okay, you will speak your truth no matter what the other person feels, because you will then, having spoke your truth, be able to respond to what the person feels as well, because they can then speak their truth, and it creates this truthful, what's the proper word? I don't want to call it a bubble. It creates this field of truth and harmony and acceptance and love and kindness and spirituality that does not exist anywhere else. Could be defined as what the Greeks call parousia, or in the presence of God. It's interesting to think about Christ consciousness, whatever you want to think about it, just an elevated state of being. So start allowing your heart to be open, because that is the key to your inner self. It's the key to your inner success. It's the key to your inner immortality, to your legendary status. For my younger viewers out there, I know you can do it. Start allowing yourself to be open to love. That is my message for you today. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm really glad I got on here and got to talk for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and post this, and there is a new Reality Decoded episode. So if you haven't gotten to go and see it, it's about life after death. That episode is really special to me because, you know, since my mom's passing, I haven't really been able to sit long enough and to think about what happens with life after death. And learning this information, it really allowed me to take like the Christian perspective and the Hindu perspective and the Taoism perspective, and to be able to incorporate it all into one. There's a lot more I could have done about this episode, but I feel that what was done is a really, really good introductory episode into it. So I'll definitely be looking forward to doing episode 2 about life after death pretty soon. But I love you guys, and I hope you gained some information today. My information for you is 1, allow your heart to be open to love, so that way you can have miracles happen in your life. 2, don't be angry, because what you do to the outside, you do to yourself, okay? Let that anger go. Confucius said, holding on to anger is like trying to grab fire. It's only gonna burn yourself. Let it go, okay? Let it go. Number 3, practice quality of life. Practice quality of life. Hygiene, food, exercise, reading, mental exercise, pet a dog, find a pet, do anything that opens your heart to love. Create a hobby, do anything. I'm telling you, your future self will thank you for it. So I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.